Hello everybody, we are back with part 2 of this tutorial, which in this part we will be focusing mainly on coloring. So as you guys see in the previous episode, I managed to detail out majority of parts of the stuff, but it might not look as smooth as ever, but it will do. So we're gonna start with doing coloring. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna press the preserve opacity, which like basically lock down the drawing itself and enable me to color it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make the line slightly lighter. Just hit Control F to make the whole thing sort of lighter. Yeah, this would do. Yep, this would do. This color would do. Sorry about that. Jesus Christ. But anyway, we're gonna start off by having by making a background color. So what kind of effect we're gonna do? So let's see. We're gonna make it like a bluish effect for the background. This is actually how I actually do in terms of coloring. So I normally choose background color first and color background. So we have like this color good? Yep, this color. Perfect. This color will be the background color. So once we got the background color, this is sort of a technique I pick up from other people as well. So we're gonna start by using the background color as a base color to determine what kind of color we're gonna use for the other stuff. Okay, so we first gonna color the hair. So what I'm choosing right now is called the Magic Wand. It's quite similar to Photoshop as well. What it does is basically once you hit a certain point of the picture, it will like sort of select the whole thing. So what you're looking at right now is a blue color. It's a selection part of area. It's not coloring in blue, but it's a selection part of area. But make sure when you do use the wand to make sure to use it on your line art too, line art layer. Unless you're doing everything in a single layer, then that's a totally different story. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do it in a separate layer. So what I'm using right now is the selection tool, which basically able us to extend the wand to selection area. So for example, because I draw it in a very messy way, so there are times that there are certain gaps area which you have to manually fill them yourself. So what I'm going to do right now is basically fill out myself, because sometimes if you do like the first selection that I talk about in terms of doing line art, you probably wouldn't need to do this this patching up stuff that much, but you still need to, because the thing with line art is that sometimes it doesn't really manage to draw everything correctly, I guess. But yeah, you see me right now trying to fill in all those gaps and spaces and stuff. And yeah, so this is roughly what is the selection area that I want the hair to be. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select a clear brush, and then we're gonna find what is the major color for this hair. So what color would I want to do? So the color that I want to do would be black. So I have to choose black, but I don't want it to be pure black, because if we were to go pure black, it will look really bad. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find this color, and let's see, the black normally is like sort of, let's give it sort of purplish color, which is here. And after that, purplish color would be sort of, because our hair is, when it's dark, it's sort of purplish, I guess. Not really purplish, but I think, is this good? Let's see. Let's Control F to fill everything in. Not entirely that good. This one? That looks good, but let's see, let's go roughly about, because let's see, so roughly, too much. Just now I managed to find a color that's decent. Okay, what we could do is that we could go like this. Let's just give it light. Yeah, this color will do. And I accidentally selected this layer as well. So what we're gonna do right now is that since we have the color that hair that we want, and we just have to Control D to deselect, and we go like this. But the problem here with right now is that we can't see the outline of the the outline for the drawing. So we have to go through it and find a decent color outline. This is too dark. I think this one. Yep. Okay, this one works. So we have to go back and color it in, just to make sure it looks alright, I guess. Oh shit. Sorry about that. Okay, I did something wrong, so we have to go through back as well, trying to color it in, and not to make everything too much as well, because we want to maintain a bit of effect for the skin. It's roughly about this. Yep. So this one looks a bit more outstanding, I guess. So okay, so once we have the basic hair done, now we need to go for the skin. So let's make a new layer. So like how I usually do in terms of coloring, I always do a lot of different layers. You could always do it one layer. Sometimes I did it one layer, but for the sake of getting things do things much more easier, it's kind of recommend for you to basically do layers by layers. Just that problem is that you might have to keep on track with quite a lot of stuff. And the thing with one layer is that when you try to do with coloring and stuff, you can actually go back. You can actually detail it even more, because you can like basically chip out a lot of places that doesn't look really nice, and yeah, just basically chip out a lot of different stuff. So the thing with skin, when I try to color skin, is that I color it. I just select it sort of like this, because we don't really. It doesn't really matter that much, because we have the hair layer to cover it. So yeah, so it doesn't really matter much in terms of the selection area. Just between the background, you just have to distinguish between the background and the background and the drawing itself. So alright, so we have to select it on skin layer. So we have to select the basic background, and we have to find the skin layer. So skin layer would be somewhat orange color. So orange color would be, since it's quite far away. So every time if the color is quite far away from basic color, for example, this color blue is quite far away from the color that you try and select, is quite far away from the original background color. You have to choose a slightly less desaturated color, because it's sort of complement to it, I think, because this is what I learned from other people as well. So alright, so we have our skin color, and it's looking really, really nice. Okay, we have our skin color, so we could deselect this right now. And then we're gonna lock this layer and lock this layer in terms of things we can do with it. Alright, so we have our skin layer, and what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna color in the shadow area. So there are two types of things you can do with coloring the shadow area. So let's see. We choose. Alright. Okay, never mind. So there are two types of things you can do with coloring the shadow layer. So first thing is that you can add a new layer and press this one, add it to a clipping group. So it's similar to locking it as well. You can basically color like this, and becomes a clipping group, and you won't basically go off the picture. So yeah, you can color it however you want, and it will be much more precise. So there are two ways of doing it. One, this is using clipping group thing, and another one is directly in it. So in this tutorial, I'll be doing it in a clipping group. So what we're gonna do right now is basically find the shadow of this hair. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the hair, and I'm gonna select almost the middle part from this color to this bottom color, the middle part, which is roughly about here, and you might want to change the color a tad bit more depending on what kind of effect you want to do. So I'm just gonna something like this. Is it it? Nope. Maybe it's like too bluish. Is this color? Nope. So let's just go back to this one again. Sometimes it happens and you couldn't really find the exact color that you want. This color is good. Alright, so we have our shader right now, so we're just gonna tweak the thing. So we're just gonna color this in, color the part that you think would be having shading parts. So roughly, in terms of the position of the shading itself, I normally just eyeball it. So you can't really say whether that place is exactly the position you should put a shading part thing in it or not. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it depends on your personal taste, how you actually want it to be. So yeah, it depends. It doesn't really matter. It depends. It depends on your self-preference. So what I'm gonna do now is just basically slightly chip in a couple of parts that I think that would be sort of shading parts. So let's do this fairly quickly. Not too quickly. So bear with me, people, because I'm doing it this in the real time. I can actually fall forward with it, but I think if I were to play this in real time, you guys would learn a bit of too in terms of style I normally do. Might not be the best style, but probably it would be good for you. Or I guess it would be. But yeah, let's select back this color, go here, and no, this one don't need. This one doesn't need any shadow. So we go here, color this in, just to make this one lightly nicer. There we go. Amazing. And here as well, because it's slightly behind the hair. I think it's gonna be behind the hair a bit. So roughly it's about like this. And also in terms of the shadow itself, you have to determine where the sunlight is coming from. So I'm assuming the light will be coming from the top and the front as well. So there's not much. Ain't gonna be as much as what you call it, shadow it could be. So what now I'm gonna doing right now is I'm gonna use the oil water paint, and this is something I managed to learn from watching somebody else. So I basically like doing this, like slightly a tad bit, just to make it like a sort of nice effect, I guess. There you go. Let's gently stroke it in, and stroke it in, which sounds totally terrible when you try to think about it. So yeah, that's basically what I normally do as well, just to make everything looks much more nicer. So we have the basically shadow done. Shadow done. All right. So now we're gonna do is we're gonna do the skin layer shadow. Alright, so similar to what we had learned just now, select the basic tone and go find the middle part between the top of the tone and the bottom of the dark color. So it'll be roughly about this color, which looks extremely terrible. So I'm just gonna roughly, let's see, I think let's go down a bit, why not? And go up a bit. Is it this good color? Or does it look? It looks a bit dead, but let's go orange a bit. Is this color good? Nope, doesn't look good at all. Let's just saturate it a bit, and then is it good? Just sorry about this. Is sometimes you have to try and find the perfect color for it. So this is a saturated. Let's go back to this color and go roughly here. We turn this color a bit, saturate a bit. Bit more. Yeah, this color looks good. Alright, so we have to colorate it using this color then. Okay, just roughly go through it. Because the thing with shadow is that you don't need, in terms of skin, you don't need to do as perfect as you could be, or at least my knowledge, in terms of my drawing style, because we're gonna chip everything later on as well. So I'm just gonna color it in very roughly, because we do not want to waste any time since we're doing it in real time. We actually speed things up, but I decided not to. Why? I do not know. I don't even know. Okay, so we're gonna chip a couple things, make it look much more nicer as well. And I apologize because sometimes it's a bit hard for me to draw and chip as well, because my tablet isn't really the best condition right now, so I have to make do with what I have, just to, yeah, because the tablet itself is really bulky right now. I have to change a lot of stuff to make it functional, well, functional at least, but now it's somewhat functional, so yeah, the more you know, the more you see. Okay, so what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna color this in, make the shadow for the neck, sort of neckish part. Okay, just clean it up a bit, and then there we go. Draw this part as well. Color this in. I just noticed she doesn't have any shoulder part. She doesn't have any shoulders, which that's rather unfortunate. But we're just gonna stick with what we have right now. Okay, just go through it like this quickly. It doesn't really matter. We can always go back to do this. There we go. There we go. So we have everything right now. So normally what I do is, there's two types of ways I could do, is to either using the old thing, doing back the same procedure as hair shadow area like this, or I could use it with the blur stuff and just blur it out. So it depends on which part of the thing that I wanted it to be a bit crispier. So I normally just do like this. It depends on which part you wanted it to be slightly more straight, I guess, or slightly more crisp in terms of the crisp. I don't know. Shit, I can't pronounce any goddamn word. So yeah, I normally do that in terms of so after I do the blurring, I go back and color it in just to make everything a bit more nice, I guess. I think I like this. I like doing this sometimes, so it depends on your self preference. So what we have now is the complete version for the skin in terms of the shadow, and I totally forgot to clip it, which actually doesn't really matter anyway. But yeah. So once we have everything done for the skin part, now we have to do is the eye part, which is the most interesting part of the thing, since there are quite a lot of different things we can do. But first we could do the eyes first, because for some reason I like to jump here and jump there in terms of doing the whole thing as a whole, so bear with me. So I tend to talk about something about head, and the next thing you see is I'm talking about something about the shoulders. So totally discontinuing, but this is sort of my way of working. I don't really know why, because I like to jump here and jump there. No apparent reason, because we don't really know. Alright, so for the eye part, I'm just gonna roughly estimate how the eye is gonna be and just color in. Okay, first layer you're gonna do is you're gonna color in the white color, so it looks yeah, because our eyes have white in it, and yeah, so yeah, correct. So this is correct. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color right now like this, and just chip off whatever I can find, and yeah, let's just clean up here and there. There we go, and voila! All right, so we're done with the white part, and we can add another one layer to clip it because we're gonna color inside of it. So for this character, she actually has like a sort of purplish color. So our base color is a bit bluish, and purple color is all the way around here. So the further color you go, the more desaturated color it gets, and the more nearer color you select closest to the background color, the more saturated you can go, I guess. So yeah, this is sort of something you could keep in mind. Okay, so we have the eyes, since we have this one, so the roughly it's about here. We can use about here. We could use quite decently saturated, so we can use roughly about here. This color should be good. So one thing you have to make sure as well, I totally forgot to do it, is well, I'm gonna do it afterwards. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna color the eyes in first, and after that I'm gonna do that another thing that I normally do in terms of checking the value, and I totally missed the spot. Alright, so let's just go in, color it out, and color back in, and switch color to white here. Voila, there we go. Go here and switch back to color, and there we go. So you have to bear in mind with me, because we have to be a bit tedious, because coloring sometimes can be tedious. I could basically using the wand tool, but I don't really know why I don't want to use the wand tool, so bear with me. It's like coloring pencil cases, not coloring with pencil and cases and all those extra stuff. So yeah, let's see, let's go here, remove this one, because this one has to be white. It's the eye reflection thing, the bop. Alright, so this would be what it normally do. Okay, and another thing I usually do is that to check everything is in value, in color value, so that everything can be quite distinguished from one another. As yeah, so what I'm going to normally do is that I merge down. Oops, I did something wrong. Okay, so I merge down every single layer like this and this, and then we go to where is it? Where is it? Is it this one? Is it this one? Yep, this one. So I always go to layer and illuminate to transparency. It turns everything to black and white. After that, you can see all the shading parts of the picture itself. So what is sort of lacking here is that the shadow part for their skin could be a tad bit more darker, because that way you could distinguish it much more easier. Alright, so now we know that the values for the skin thinking, this one is a bit too light. We can well, actually not that much saturated, we just darken it a bit, so it'll be slightly like this. So that we could change the color a bit. Isn't this good? Yeah, this color is good. Alright, this color is better. Let's just darken the color a bit. We don't need to be that saturated, so this color is roughly about here, and not really, we have to desaturate it. Apparently this color is quite far away from what initially is, so we have to desaturate it a bit to make it like this. So is it alright right now? Let's double check. So we have to merge everything down. So one thing bad about using this software is that you have to merge every single thing in order to check the values. And yeah, it's looking quite good. So yeah, one thing bad about this is that you have to merge every single thing. It's a long process, but you need to have it done in order to check your value itself. So what we're going to do is now is going to go to the middle dark color, and let's make it a slightly bluish color. Okay, let's just zoom in a tad bit, color in the iris, because she needs some iris as well. Why not? I'm just going to preserve the opacity so I don't go over it. Okay, and okay, all right, cool. So we go normally like this, coloring the iris. Sometimes the color might get a bit too dark. We have to fix that one in a tad bit. But what we do now is just to make sure everything goes well. So normally I do is that I color into the halfway point about roughly like this. And then I'm going to show you a magic that I normally do when coloring eyes. I'm not sure I'm the best person in terms of coloring eyes, but yeah, this is not what I normally do. Oh, sorry. A bit too much. So I normally do this, chip it out a bit, make it look, too much. So gently stroke it up and then there we go. And, too much. Because this one is a bit too strong sometimes, so you have to be quite gentle about it. That sounds extremely wrong. So yeah, that's what you have. So what we gotta do is we gotta color slightly a bit more dark as well, just to differentiate the parts of the eyes. And then we just gotta do like this. There we go. To make everything, to basically make the eyes pop out a bit more. And this one is a bit different. This one we gotta go to blur and blur it, because we want a different kind of effect to it. There you go. So we have completed the eye in terms of making it pop out. So what we need right now is making the reflection of shiny part, I guess. So what we're gonna do with the shiny part is that we're gonna pick a color, slightly saturate the color. So I think this one will work pretty much fine. Does it? Yeah, it works fine. Okay, so this pink color is actually working really fine. So what we need to do is, let's see, how big is this? Yeah, this will do. So I have to draw this one just roughly about it. It doesn't really matter because we can always chip it off later. By selecting this color. So roughly about like this. Okay, there we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the oil water thingy and just chip it in a bit, chip it in a bit. Now that we go blur layer and blur everything all out. And sometimes I wonder, do I seriously need to do the chip it in? Sometimes I don't really think so. Alright, so we go back to the doing clear layer another time and just draw it again, just to basically give it sort of a shiny effect on it. Okay, there we go. Just blur it out, blur the edges a bit, so we can have a much more nice shiny area. So now we gotta go to the white, lower down the brush size, just color it. Wait, wow, did the wrong thing. Sorry. Okay, go back to clear layer and then just gonna draw this gently here. Yeah, roughly about this. A bit, just a tad bit, not too much. We don't want too much white in it. Okay, so yep, something like this. So we can generally have the eyes to be slightly more popped out. So once we finish our eyes, and no, wait a minute, it haven't been finished yet. So right now we have to do is this one. Let's see. Alright, okay, need to unlock this one. But what we could do is we can bump up the size of it and color it like this. So because the eyes have sort of a, so you need a sort of a shadow for the white part, so it will look much more nicer, at least in my opinion. Just do like this real quick, and yeah, just do roughly like this, because it doesn't really matter, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna blur it out. You'll basically blur it and make it sort of blendish, I guess. Okay, there we go. So you have a sort of a slightly eye difference in terms of part. And what we're gonna do right now is to color the highlighting part. So highlighting part will be the hair, and this one, the highlighting part will be roughly about like this, I think. Is it? Alright. Bit slightly too much. Let's do this thing about here. I'll go here. About this. Is it correct? Nope. Too much. Yeah, let's just do this. Yep. Slightly brighter. Yep, it's cool. Okay, so what I normally do with in terms of highlighting is I'm gonna create a new layer. Just bump up the brush a bit and then just draw it in. So the highlight, it's a bit weird actually. It depends how you want to do the highlighting. Because normally in terms of highlighting, I don't really do as much as I thought I would do. I just roughly do. And hold on, be right back. Hold on. 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay, okay. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. We have a bit of interruption. But anyway, back with this. We're gonna draw this roughly. Oh, sorry, I don't really want to do that. Okay, so we have sort of like a zigzag shape, I would like to call. So the thing with drawing this zigzag shape is that you have to follow the flow of the hair just to make it sort of believable, I guess. So we have to follow the flow of the hair a bit more. Yeah, something like this. And after that we go blur, and we go slightly blur the edges that doesn't really look nice. So yeah, it's what I normally usually do. Just blur it out, blur certain edges just to make it look nice. Then go oil water, we go remove a couple parts just to do this kind of effect. Same with what we could see earlier in terms of shadow. Just roughly do it. It doesn't really have to be whatever. This is what I normally do. So after that we select this, we go a bit of a lighter color. Normally I go about here, I guess. Yeah, we draw this. Oh, maybe it's too much. Okay, we go like this. Oh, too much. Let's just use airbrush because color is a bit too strong. Okay, there we go. Amazing. Just have to draw it a bit harder. For some reason it doesn't. That's what you call it? Spray is airbrush is a bit soft. You have to go through it quite hardly as well. Just to go through it roughly like this. There you go. So we have a sort of a shiny texture. And if we want to, we could go in by using water just to color it up, and then yeah, like this. Then after that, we go through it by oops, too much. Just basically edging up the parts. That's usually what I do. And then we have to make another part here as well, just to sort of balance things out. Because normally we have quite a lot of highlight as well. I don't really know how to explain it, but if you look quite a lot of examples, you have people that sort of have a bit of what you call it, a bit of reflection, I guess. So let's just roughly go through it. So yeah, so something like this. We have a bit of yeah, just like this. Okay, there we go. So we have a bit of highlight for the hair right now. So that's what it is. So I think that's pretty much what I have. Then other than that, it's basically transported into Photoshop and make whatever you need to do to make it much more nicer. So this is pretty much how I usually do in terms of coloring the stuff and make it look much more nicer. So I hope you guys learned something, and if you guys want to learn more about the editing part, which like basically to send it to Photoshop and do whatever you need to do to make it nice. And then let me know in the comments so I can basically do another video on editing. And as it stands for now, this is basically what I have to say in terms of coloring. I hope you guys enjoy it and learn something of it, and I shall see you guys next time. My name is Zero, and bye bye.